Exactly 75 years since the United Nations officially came into existence. The United Nations was created when countries came together after World War II to prevent such conflict and replace an ineffective League of Nations. Now our reporter David Mbithi takes us down memory lane and recounts diplomatic struggles for world peace and global unity.
May 8, 1945, Victory Day in Europe, Sir Winston Churchill waves from a balcony as thousands celebrate the formal acceptance of Germany's unconditional surrender of its armed forces to Allied power. The Nazi overlords of occupied Europe drained their conquered territories of resources to feed the German war machine. Nearly three-quarters of Europe suffered the ravages of occupation as Allied powers bravely fought off the Axis powers at great cost to human life and economies. The United Nations became the brainchild of a new world, reborn from the ashes of war, death and destruction. In June 26, 1945, representatives of 50 countries met in San Francisco at the United Nations Conference on International Organization to drop the United Nations Charter. The charter would eventually come into force on October 24, 1945. Kenya was admitted to United Nations membership on 16 December 1963. The same year the country attained independence. In 1996, the United Nations office at Nairobi was established, becoming one of 4 major UN office sites and the UN's headquarters in Africa.
We are very pleased as a country to join the UN family in celebrating the UN at 75. Kenya has had a very wonderful relationship with the UN since our independence. In 1963, when we were admitted to the UN as a member state on the 16th of December 1963. And Kenya has earned a very special place in the family of nations.
Kenya is a very unique country in the Global South. It hosts 2 of the UN headquarters of the Global South, in the Global South. It is the UN Habitat and the UN Environmental Program. There is no other headquarter of this size and stature anywhere in the Global South. So Kenya deserves to be commended on that. I, as the UN Resident Coordinator, lead a family of 23 UN agencies, funds and programs in Kenya. And our focus is on the socio-economic development, the human development and progress of Kenya.
75 years later, the United Nations and the rest of the world is grappling with the coronavirus pandemic, which has challenged the effectiveness and solidarity of the now 193-member world body. The pandemic has exposed the world's fragilities, and several leaders have called for a reform of the United Nations, and in particular, the 15-member Security Council, arguing it was unfair that the United States, Russia, China, France and Britain were the only permanent veto-wielding powers. While there has not been a World War III, leaders adopted a statement on September 21, 2020, acknowledging moments of disappointment. David Mbithi, KTN News.
Israel and Sudan have